All right, today we're just going to go over the Ariel Sellers case. Just recap on it, get caught up. And this is really mainly for like people who have not been following the case so that they can get introduced to it. Um, and for those who have been following it but have kind of fallen off from it because there's really been no activity in the case. So there's really not been a whole lot to talk about or to report on in it. We thought we had trial coming up here not far back, but then they end up rescheduling it. So in the meantime, let's keep Ariel's name in the conversation. Let's keep her face out there. Uh, the long and the short of it is on September 13th of last year, Ariel was reported missing. She was supposedly last seen on Sunday, September the 12th, sleeping in her bed, fully dressed with shoes on. And we all know when they're fully dressed with shoes on at bedtime, there's always something suspicious. Well, long story short, they found out that Ariel was not missing as of September the 12th. She was actually missing since August 18th or thereabouts. And they later determined that she had been murdered by her adoptive parents. This case is one where protective services again failed miserably. They failed Ariel, they failed her sisters, they failed Ariel's family in the worst way. And I don't want her to just be forgotten, swept under the rug. I've seen so many cases where there was so much stir and buzz about the case while it was fresh, but then the kid just faded. You never hear anyone talk about Cash Gurnon anymore. You know, Angel Overstreet. You never hear anybody talking about Angel Overstreet. You never hear anybody talking about so many of these kids. And even with Summer Wells, even though her case is front and center, you never really hear anybody talking about Summer Wells. They're talking about her parents. They're talking about her relatives. They're talking about all the neighbors and everyone who might possibly have ever in their life visited Beach Creek, but they're not talking about Summer. So we don't want to let Ariel fade away because she definitely needs justice. This was a beautiful, loving, sweet child who, before she went to her then foster and later adoptive parents, was just glowing, beautiful, happy, um, well fed, well taken care of, long, gorgeous, flowing hair. And we could see the digression of going from that to skin and bones, broken, battered, bruised, until she ended up dead in a horrific way. So let's start with this. This is the very first video that I did about Ariel. It was requested by someone on Twitter, and that's how I actually heard of her case. Someone inboxed me about it and asked me if could possibly do a video for Ariel, and I said yes. And here is the video. Early of Monday, September 13th, 2021, call service at the Puha Street home of Isaac Sonny Kalua and once there, officers received a missing child report concerning the couple's 6-year-old adoptive daughter. Let's see. All right, I think I'm in there. I'm not sure. Y'all just hold on. My other computer is acting a fool with me today. I was saying before I realized my mic was muted that I believe it's from the weather because we got some bad weather coming in. We're supposed to have like rain and storms all week. Y'all forgive me. My hair is just wild all over the place. I don't even care today. Let's get this window back up, and we should have enough buffer on it now that it'll share without skipping. Aloha, Lena. Welcome to the chat. I'm sure you've been in before, but I think this is the first time you've spoken in the chat. I'm glad you joined. Just going over Ariel's case, refreshing it in people's mind and just presenting it to people who don't know about it. I'm having a few technical difficulties, but hopefully they'll work themselves out because the weather actually isn't bad outside right now. It's coming. And anytime. I just really want to see justice for her. Like this is one of the most horrible stories I've seen in true crime. Like even before I started being a creator, I still followed it and I've seen some horrible things, but man, just the way that this played out. And it's so sad when protective services fails children and families so miserably. And then everybody's kind of just like passing the buck. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Blame this one. Blame that one. Don't blame me. Nobody wants to give a straight answer for anything. It's horrible, man. And I know that's what this was. They were passing the buck and blaming everybody else because even when I was trying to set up the thing to get gifts for the girls, it was so hard. You think I was asking them to, rope the moon and pull it down for me. And I'm like, geez, I just want somebody to say, hey, yeah, we'll accept the gifts and we'll take them to the kids. So here we go. First video I made on Ariel. Hopefully it will play right this time. Department Okay, so the video is not going to play for us today, and I believe it's just the weather, but we can still talk about Ariel's case. Oh, now it wants to play. Ain't that something? But we can still talk about Ariel's case. So here is what happened. Ariel was one of five children. And Elena, if I get anything wrong, please type it in the chat because it has been a while. Ariel was one of five siblings of two parents who unfortunately had issues with drug addiction. And while the parents had bouts of homelessness, the children were never homeless. The children always had a roof over their head, be it with their parents or with family, um, or with friends. But they always had a roof over their head. They weren't like outside sleeping in cars, sleeping in bushes, whatever. It wasn't that kind of case. It was a simple matter of that could have well been resolved with the help of protective services providing resources. The parents had addictions, and those addictions caused them to not be able to properly care for their children. The children were not abused by their parents. This is a situation where protective services should have offered resources such as rehabilitation for drug addiction, where they should have offered assistance in obtaining and maintaining housing and employment because they do have those programs out there. I know for a fact somebody called protective service on me when I was raising my kids, just being spiteful, and it actually ended up being a blessing for me in a way because protective services actually paid money to get my car out of the shop. So they have all kinds of resources. I know that they have all kinds of resources that they can use to help families. So eventually, Isabella and I believe a couple of her other siblings went to live with the maternal grandmother, or it was the paternal grandmother. The grandmother's significant other got into an accident and was in the hospital. So the grandmother was spending a lot of time at the hospital. Protective services, and this is like the shortened version. Protective services says, hey, it looks like this is too much for you, like you may be overtired between taking care of the kids and spending time at the hospital. We're going to place them somewhere else for a little while and see if that works better. So the children were taken in place. They eventually ended up with the Kaluas. The Isabella, Ariel, and they changed her name to Isabella. They had adoption proceedings in the works for four of the five siblings. They had custody of four of the five siblings. One sibling was with blood relatives. They had adoption proceedings in the works to eventually adopt all four of the siblings that were placed with them. While in the custody of the Kaluas, Isabella ended up with several injuries that should have sparked further investigation on the part of CPS and possibly removal. She had several fingers on her hand broken, um, and those were not immediately seen. She did not immediately get medical attention for those. Um, I can't recall how long it was before she got the medical attention that she needed, but it was not like, oh, this kid's fingers are broken. Let me take her to the emergency room or the doctor, like normal people would if their kid had an injury like that, because broken fingers, the way it was described, is not something they could have been like, oh, maybe she just sprained it. It should have been obvious to them that it was a break and it was something serious. She also had her leg broken. I believe her leg was broken twice. Now, for that, she did get immediate treatment, but I'm not sure how well they followed up with the Kaluas, how well they followed up with the care, because we've seen videos of Isabella, of Ariel limping. Her leg is not straight. You can tell that something is wrong with it. She's pretty much dragging her leg behind her. And so that is why I say I don't know how well they kept up with her care or follow up care with the leg break, because it seems that that leg did not heal or set properly. Eventually, the Kaluas took Ariel out of public school to homeschool her. And I believe that the only reason she was taken out of public school is because she was being abused. There are so many pictures of her with them with bruises and marks and scrapes and cuts that are obviously can be seen. And there was an incident where a teacher at Ariel's elementary school actually made a report that she suspected abuse, and that report went nowhere. I believe it was after that she was removed from public school to be homeschooled. I've never received information as to whether or not all there was at least one other child who would have been in public school, which would be the oldest sister, and I have never received information as to whether or not the older sibling was removed from school and placed in homeschooling as well, or if it was only Ariel. So Ariel is removed from public schooling. The following school term, she would have been homeschooled. I got something coming through here. Hopefully. Nope, that's not what I thought it was. The following school year, which would have started sometime in August or September, depending, I don't know when the school year starts in Hawaii. Where I'm from, it starts like mid to late August. Some places I've heard they start in September. Around August 18th. Well, I won't say that because that kind of plays into later. Well, these September 13th, early in the morning, the Kaluas called the police to report Isabella missing. By this time, her name had been changed to Isabella. They called to report her missing. For some reason, the camera that should have caught anyone leaving or entering the house magically wasn't working. So there was no footage of her leaving the house. They report her missing. They say that she was last seen wearing, and they describe full clothing with shoes. She was last seen sleeping, fully dressed in shoes. Make it make sense. So an immense search gets underway for Ariel. I'm talking drones, ATVs, hundreds and hundreds of bodies, um, police and other agencies, as well as community volunteers, all scouring every inch of this island for this baby. During the course of the search, a bag was found near the military base there, and the bag contained children's items, clothing, and other things that were specifically identified as belonging to Ariel. They were in a trash bag, and it's my understanding that they were either in or very close to a creek or small stream that runs near that military base. I am unsure if the second item, which is a very important item, was found during the search or just before. I believe it was found before she was even reported missing, but no one knew it was of any significance. There was a photo album that contained pictures of Ariel and her siblings that was found. Yes, Ariel. Hey, Ra. That was found in a dumpster or in one of the containers near or in the landfill there, and it contained pictures of Ariel and her siblings. This photo album was found by homeless people who kept it for whatever reason that they kept it. During the course of the search, after Ariel had been reported missing, some kind of way, the fact that this photo album exists comes to light, comes to the attention of law enforcement. Now, searches continue, mainly um, her biological family, her mother, her father was at that time in a rehabilitation center. Her mother, her aunts, and other relatives were coming out, even flying in from other islands to participate in these searches to try and find Ariel. The adoptive family never once participated in any search. They never once gave a press conference saying, please bring Ariel home. They never once did anything to advocate for this child who they had reported missing. And on top of that, they got a criminal defense attorney. They hired one of the best criminal defense attorneys on the island from the outset. Fast forward about a month, and in November, October, well, the searches lasted about a week, the primary searches. Exactly, because they knew that their whole story was hogwash. The primary searches for Ariel lasted about a week, almost exactly a week. I believe it was 6 days, and on the seventh day, it was ended. But police were still doing their homework. They didn't just stop. I believe that the police knew from the day it was reported that they knew there was foul play involved because Ariel's siblings were immediately removed from the home that day. We saw with Summer's case, it was a month later before they removed the kids, and it wasn't even directly related to Summer going missing. It was for other reasons. In this case, they were immediately removed because of the Ariel being reported missing. Time moves on, and eventually the older sibling has been away from that home long enough to where I feel like she felt comfortable to begin speaking and saying what really happened. And this is when the horrible details began to come out. Ariel had been being abused and starved. Lehua was refusing her food, and Isaac was basically going along with it, aware of everything and doing nothing to protect these children that they had jumped through hoops to gain custody of and to adopt, to legally adopt them. And I don't understand why you would go through everything that's involved with legally adopting a child just to abuse them. The theory has been presented that maybe they didn't actually want the older two children, Ariel and the older sibling. They only wanted the small kids. And so Ariel and the older sibling became the target of their abuse because they didn't want them anyway. Well, Ariel had been being starved. She had been being denied food. She would sneak into the kitchen at night to steal food, to steal scraps, whatever she could get. Her older sister would try to sneak food to her. And at some point, Lehua decided that what she would do is she would start keeping Ariel in a dog cage with duct tape on her mouth at night so that not only could she not get out and find food to fill her hungry stomach, but that she also couldn't cry out and disturb Lehua's sleep at night. That's my personal opinion as to why it was done the way it was done. So Big Sis is telling what happened, and she tells of the night that Ariel died. She said that Lehua woke her up and took her into the bathroom, and that she saw Ariel in the dog cage not breathing. Lehua ran a cold shower, and if I understood what I read correctly, she had Big Sis to take Ariel and put her in this cold shower in an attempt to revive her, I guess. We've seen so many times, and I don't know why they do that. These people abuse these kids to the point of death and then decide, I'm going to throw them in a tub or a shower of cold water and wake them up. Every time. I mean, it happens so often till it's almost a part of the script. Beat the kid, kill them, throw them in some cold water. So when that failed to revive her, Lehua, evil that she is, decided that she would have Big Sis carry, yes, Teresa Cooper, welcome to the chat. So horrible and so sad. Lehua decided that what she would do is to have Big Sis carry her lifeless baby sister and put her in bed in a shared bedroom. Now, I don't know if they shared one bed, meaning that Big Sis would have been forced to spend the night sleeping or trying to sleep next to her dead sister, or if they shared the room and had separate beds. Either way, it is still horrific. It's still beyond imagination that you would force a child to carry the dead body of their sibling who they have seen you abusing and dogging out for months on end. God only knows how long this was going on, at least months, possibly a year or more, because they starved this child from a fluffy faced, long, glowing hair beautiful kid to skin and bones, skin and broken bones at that. That's exactly what they did. These people aren't even human. Like, even animals care for their children better than these people did. Animals will care for another animal's child better than these people took care of these kids. So, Big Sister says she doesn't know where they took Ariel. She says that Isaac actually took off from work. He pretended to have COVID-19 so that he could help Lehua clean up evidence. He took off, I believe it was over a week. And during the course of that week, obviously they cleaned up whatever they thought might be evidence in the house, which I don't know whatever that actually is, but we could assume it's maybe blood because she was being abused. She was being abused bad enough to have broken fingers and to have broken legs and other broken bones. She was being abused enough to where her smile didn't even look like the smile she had when she came to them. So I'm assuming somewhere along the lines there was blood somewhere in that house. There was uh, probably other bodily fluids that they needed to be cleaned up. Whatever they thought may suggest that Ariel had been abused. They were basically trying to set the stage to make it look like she really just disappeared. She ran away, or maybe her natural parents or natural family came to steal her away or something like that, because Lehua started early on dogging this child. She started early on bad mouthing the child and trying to put an image into people's head of who Ariel was, saying that, oh, she would sleep outside all the time. She'd leave out of the house and go sleep in the front yard. That's why we had to get a security system, because, to keep her safe, to keep her inside. Well, how could she disappear in the middle of the night and you not know it if you've installed a security system just for the purpose of she keeps slipping out and sleeping outside? Make it make sense for me and for you. Make it make sense. They had already said that they made mention to the police of how Ariel and her family were homeless. I guess in an effort to present her as a street child. Maybe they weren't aware that Ariel never actually slept on the streets, that she was never a street urchin, that she was never homeless the way that most of us think of when people say homeless. When I hear that someone is homeless, I assume that they're sleeping in a car, or they're sleeping on park benches, they're sleeping on buses in the daytime, they got a camp somewhere in the woods somewhere, they're going to soup kitchens, all the things that you associate with homelessness. But not every homeless is the same. There are so many iterations of homeless. Homeless can simply mean you don't have a solid place of your own. You might stay here one night at a friend's house, over there at your aunt's house, over here at your cousin's house, back over there and stay with your sister for a week. You're never actually on the street, but you really don't have a home. If someone were to ask you what's your address, you probably wouldn't be able to really give them one. You'd probably just have to pick one that somebody said you could get mail at. So Ariel was never street homeless, I guess is the word I'm looking for. She was never out there homeless. Exactly, Teresa. How could you hurt one of God's children? I've never been able to understand how these people can do the things that they do to these kids and live with themselves. And then I believe it was on August the 18th that Lehua made a post on Facebook and said something along the lines of, if their absence doesn't bother you, their presence never meant anything to you. Now, mind you, this is the day that Ariel was last seen on, and this is what I skipped past earlier. The last day when the police went through the home security footage, the last day that they saw Ariel on the footage was August 18th. So for Lehua to make a post like that, either on the 18th or the day after or whatever it was, it's like she felt the need to kind of brag about what she did. You feel me? Like she couldn't hold it in. She had to let it out some kind of way. She had to broadcast it to the world. You know, this kid never meant anything to me anyway. But they say, when people do stuff, they tell on themselves one way or another. They always tell on themselves because they feel a need to boast about it. They feel a need to tell about it. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to pull this up though and add it to the stream, give it a few minutes, and then try to play it. Of course, they don't have a heart. In the post, she said something like, if their absence doesn't affect you, then their presence never meant anything to you. Or if their absence means nothing to you, their presence never did. Yeah, exactly. They can't hold it in. They got to get it out. They got to tell somebody in some kind of way. It just, it won't stay in them. But then again, that kind of evil has to boil over. That kind of evil has to come out, which is why I am always amazed when something like this happens and then the neighbors say, I never would have expected it. They were such a sweet person. Or the family says, I never saw any sign of anything like this, because evil like that cannot be hidden. You probably saw it and chose to think of it as something else. Maybe you saw it and brushed it off as, that's not what that is. But some kind of way, this evil made itself known. It manifested in some kind of way before it got to this point. But like I said, they were church going. They held decent statuses in the community. Lehua was actually, I have the document. Unfortunately, is on the hard drive of my computer that crashed that I can't get into. But I still have the hard drive, and I am going to be able to get into that hard drive eventually here soon. Lehua held a seat on some type of committee, some type of political action committee or something that dealt with finances or something like that in Oahu. God, I wish I had the document in front of me and I don't have it saved anywhere else except on that hard drive. Yeah, just like Summer, they cut off her hair. And we see that so much. They cut the hair. They gotta take that beauty away. They gotta take that light away, dull that light. But anyway, as I was saying, the last time that she was seen on camera in the home surveillance footage was August the 18th. So they waited a month, almost a month to the day, to report her missing, trying to let time, I guess, kind of cover some of their tracks. So in November, the Kaluas get arrested. And I mean, when I tell you they came for them, they came for them. At the same time that there was a million officers swarming their house and arresting Lehua, there was a million officers swarming the Pearl Harbor business that Isaac worked at and arresting him. So they were arrested simultaneously. I'm going to turn this volume off on this phone because today of all days, it decides that it just wants to go off every 5 seconds. And it never does that because nobody ever calls me. Nobody ever texts me. Nobody ever sends me messages, really. Give me 1 second. Yeah, that little shorty, that's Gabs, guys. That is the one who likes to game for everybody, and she helps me with my videos. She's the one that has the two videos on my channel. She's probably gonna make another one here soon. Every few days, she'll just like, Gigi, can I make another video? She calls them movies. Can I make another movie? So she'll probably be making another movie for your enjoyment here soon. She just loves. She loves. She wants to. I think she wants to be a YouTube star. But she has the talent to be anything. If she wants to be a YouTube star, if she wants to be, I don't know, a doctor. Right now, she says she wants to be a police officer. And it's really ingrained in her now because she dressed as a police officer for Halloween, for the school Halloween party. And we used to live right across from an officer who brought his patrol car home with him. And so when he saw her Halloween outfit, excuse me, when he saw her Halloween outfit, he let her come get in his car and run the lights and the sirens and stuff for a little while. Yeah, she really loved it. And ever since then, all she wants to play is cops and robbers, and she got to be the cop. She's a mess. I love her. She's so sweet. But back to Ariel. Okay, so they were both simultaneously arrested in November and charged with second degree murder and a couple of other charges. If I can get the videos to play, then we're gonna go over that stuff because we covered that. We covered the indictment. We broke down the indictment papers for both of them and all. Okay, so it looks like it's staying up. Let me see if we can get this video to play finally. We might just have to move on to the next one. Right. And is said to have been wearing a black hoodie, black leggings, color socks, and black Isabella the requirement for an Amber Alert. However, recognized by enforcement, they use ATVs. Yeah, it's not gonna play. I can't even pause it. I don't know what's going on with that. I restarted the computer before I started because sometimes it does this, but so they were arrested and they are now sitting in the county jail waiting trial. And hopefully they will broadcast that trial live. And if they do, I will definitely be covering it. Even though I'm not a morning person, I'm gonna make sure I'm up early enough to cover that trial live for you guys. Um, because we need to hear this. We need to see them put on the spot. Now, what I think is that they're trying to use the disposition of Ariel's body in some way to get a lesser sentence or to work some kind of plea bargain. We'll tell you where she is or what we did with her if you don't give us life in prison, or you know what I'm saying, something like that. It is my sincere prayer and hope that no one will go for that. That this child has been used already. They've used her for financial gain with the fostering and adopting a child that they didn't even want, because they got money for that. They got money for her care when she was fostered. They got money, continuing money for her care after she was adopted to help facilitate adoption and transition and all that kind of stuff. So they financially gained from her. And then after you've abused her, dogged her out, and killed her, to use her as a pawn. Hey, B Tim, to use her as a pawn to get an easier sentence for the brutal murder and abuse that you committed on her would be so utterly, completely wrong on so many levels that I don't even think I could count that many levels. I mean, I hope that the prosecutors will not, under any circumstances, allow them to use this baby again. I know that the family wants and needs closure. All of us want and need closure. But I'm just going to tell you, even if it was my own child in this situation, I would not want to see them used to get a lighter sentence. I would rather go through my life knowing that my child is dead and I don't know where they are, but at least I know that they are no longer suffering, than to let them get a lighter sentence by telling me where they are. You understand me? I would rather see them get as much punishment as the law allows. Throw the whole book at them, throw the bench at them, throw the whole judge at them. I don't care. Yeah, they need to make them tell where she is, but at the same time, I don't want to see them get off light just because they told where she is. Even if they tell, they still need to get as much time as possible. Now, that's one of the theories, B Tim, that has been put forward, that they threw her in a volcano. One theory is that he disposed of her at his workplace because of the place he worked at, some kind of shipping yard or something like that. I can't really remember the specifics of that theory, but there's something about that shipping yard to where he could have disposed of her there some kind of way and no one would ever find her. Easily, if they had access to a boat, they could have gone out and put her in the water, and we'll never know. There are so many things. Oh yeah, throw them in a volcano. But yeah, that was a theory, is that they threw her into a volcano. Um, I mean, this is one of those cases that makes you wish we could just send them to Guantanamo Bay and let them do what they do and get the truth out of these people, because it is so disrespectful, so evil, so selfish that you would just not even give the family the satisfaction of being able to lay this girl to rest, or at least knowing, look, you won't be able to lay her to rest physically, but this is where she was, or this is what we did to her, so that they could at least go to the area and do like a memorial service or something for her. You know, well, we took her off into the water on the east side of the island. You know what I'm saying? Something. Give them something. You've already taken so much from them. Give them something. Show that you're that you're human on some level, even if it's only a little bit. Give them something. I don't know. What I'm gonna do is, since I can't get this. A matter of fact, I don't even have to end the live to do it because I'm using two devices. See, I am blind sometimes, but sometimes I'm such a genius. I'm just gonna restart it and reconnect to the live. That's what I'm gonna do. Yes, ma'am. I'm coming. I'm finna check it. While I'm doing that, guys, I'm also cooking dinner. So give me a second. Let me go check this chicken. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not making baked chicken today. We're making chicken and rice. So I am boiling the chicken so that I can take it uh off the bone and make the chicken and rice. I don't know if you still have time, Tim, but if you want to play the dying game, you have to type I start, and it will give you some numbers and symbols, and you'll have to extract the numbers, just the numbers from it, and type those in. And you'll get like an Easter egg of loyalty points. That's something that I started for the channel. I'm gonna take a Wait a minute. What is the only thing sweeter than Savage says TCN is candy from Truman's Factory? So, oh, that's a ad. I guess it's ad supported. I didn't know what in the world that was all about. I did not make that post right there, guys. That's something Batismo does. I guess they got to make money too. They can't give me free bot service without advertising. I guess. But yeah, it's something new that I started for the channel. You guys, when you're in here and you're participating in the live, you will get 5 points every 5 minutes. Um, when you're in here and you're not participating, like if you come in early and my live is you're waiting for my live to come on, then you'll get 3 points every 5 minutes while you're waiting. And what we're going to do with that is there's a shop feature where I haven't decided what to put on there, but I can let you guys buy things like you could buy me doing an ice bucket challenge for so many points, or the joke right now, you could buy me doing a live with a pickle taped to my forehead for so many points. I really don't know what to put in the shop yet, but just something to kind of something lighthearted to kind of keep the stream, since we deal with such horrible topics and we hear such horrible and just heartbreaking subject matter in here. Just something to kind of lighten it up a little bit so that we aren't leaving these lives feeling like the weight of the world is just bearing down on our souls. There's nothing wrong. They say laughter is the best medicine, so it's probably going to be some like little funny stuff just to kind of cheer people up after we hear all this horrible, awful, who in the world thought to do that to a kid stuff that we hear in these cases. All right, I restarted the computer. Now let's see if it's going to do what it needs to do. Let me pause that, get back in the studio. I really hope it works, man, because these videos, like, no, the Kalua's trial was pushed back to September. They were supposed to go to trial, I think, in May. I believe it was May that they were supposed to go to trial. Either April or May, they were supposed to go to trial, but it got pushed back. The only thing sweeter than Savage says, that is just, I think I like my TC Mo. All right, let's see if it'll work now that I've restarted the computer. Here we go, Ariel. Add it to
of
the
Isaac
stream.
Sonny Kalua and his wife Lehua.
All right, it's playing this time. Let me close this out.
Once there, officers received
There we go.
in the early morning hours of Monday, September 13th, 2021. The Honolulu Police Department responded to a call for service at the Puha Street home of Isaac Sonny Kalua and his wife Lehua. Once there, officers received a missing child report concerning the couple's 6-year-old adoptive daughter, Isabella Kalua, whose birth name is Ariel Sellers. She was last seen in her bed around 9 p.m. the previous night and is said to have been wearing a black hoodie, black leggings, colorful socks, and black Nike slides with pink bottoms. Isabella's disappearance did not meet the requirements for an Amber Alert to be issued. However, a full-scale search effort was quickly organized by law enforcement. They used helicopters, ATVs, drones, and help from volunteers from the local community. Missing child posters with Isabella's photo and description were made and posted around the area. Searchers combed through brush and woods looking for Isabella. Law enforcement went door to door, informing neighbors that a child was missing. Residents were asked to review home security footage for anything that might be helpful, as well as to check around their property for places a small child could hide or possibly become stuck in. Waimanalo District Park, just a short distance from the Kalua home, soon became the headquarters of the search, with law enforcement helping to organize and
Waimanalo.
direct the volunteer effort. Searchers found no trace of Isabella during the morning search hours. That afternoon, As efforts to find Isabella continue in the Waimanalo area, Child Welfare Services removed Isabella's three siblings from the Kalua home. The Kaluas had begun taking care of Isabella about 5 years ago and had legally adopted her within the last year. Over the years, the Kaluas had also taken in three of Isabella's four sisters as foster children. The fifth child currently lives with a relative. In the early evening, Sergeant Chris Kim from CrimeStoppers gave a press conference, fielding questions from reporters. Here is a condensed video.
Okay, so Crime Stoppers and the Honolulu Police Department are seeking the public's assistance in helping to locate Isabella, last seen in her bedroom of her Kahu Street address in the Waimanalo area. So once again, we're asking for the public, if you know anything about this case, please contact HPD or Crime Stoppers. Our phones will be manned throughout the night. So if you have any information, please contact us as soon as possible. Basically, Isabella is 6 years old. She's approximately 3 feet 3 inches tall. She's a mixed ethnicity of Caucasian, mixed, approximately 46 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a black hoodie, black leggings, colorful socks, Nike slides with pink bottom. I believe those are like Nike type slippers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So at this point, it's been classified as a missing persons case. Investigators are looking at it, with a fine tooth comb. There are other agencies involved in assisting us. Once again, at this time, it's just classified as a missing persons case. Because she's been reported missing from the Waimanalo area, we're asking for for the community, the Waimanalo community, please rally together. If you know anything about this case, if you want to set up your own teams, help the family out. My understanding is that there were postings on social media with people offering assistance. Certainly, if the public feels like they want to do that, they're more than welcome to do that. Well, I think just in general, if you do see a juvenile out there, especially at 6 years old, without any adult supervision or someone watching over them, please feel free to contact a police officer, go out there and check out the situation. Once again, she went missing from her Pua Street address in the Waimanalo area, but this is actually going out island wide. So as far as that's a question that keeps coming up is the Amber Alert. There are certain criteria that need to be met at this point. Although she is under the age of 17 years old, those criteria haven't been met. So as of right now, it's staying as a missing persons case. So my understanding that we do have our SSD officers out there with the dogs. There are detectives out there. The FBI has offered their assistance, as well as the missing children's center of Hawaii are also involved. I think it's fair to say that until she's recovered, HPD is not going to stop looking for her, and that's what we're asking for the public. Please, if you know anything about this case, please update us, report anything, however minute it may be. Let us sort through the tips. Just offer us whatever information that you have. Once again, things can certainly change, as time goes on.
By 9 p.m., there was still no sign of 6-year-old Isabella. She had been missing for 24 hours. Searches continued into the night. Please stay tuned for part 2, day 2. Consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
So that was the first video that I did about Ariel. And the other video that I want to share with you is when we went over the is when we went over the indictment, and I might have to share Sleuth Mom's video with you. So let me find that. Because honestly, I think I accidentally deleted my video. I was messing around with some stuff, and I think I accidentally deleted it. So, but we both did videos on the indictment documents, going over what the different things in it meant. My video kind of broke it down from a different aspect, and I wish I hadn't. The doxing PI. Oh, I'm not stunned by them. He can dox me all he wants to. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Honestly, I keep saying that I want to tell you guys my story, right? And it's hard for me to bring myself to a point where I can just kind of spill my guts to a million strangers. But if events happen that bring things up, I'm gonna address them. I really I don't know. I guess I'm one of those people who it takes because it's so old. My I don't even know how to say it. My story is very emotionally overwhelming, but it would be helpful to so many people. So if James Terry wants to do me the favor of doxing me, then hey, you'll just help me tell my story and help more victims. Because I'm just gonna be serious. I'm a real person. I have a real past, a real present, a real future, and I really have nothing to hide. I'm an open book. I just don't know where to start. You know, it's like one of those books where you could jump in anywhere and read in a circle, and I don't know whether to start y'all at the beginning, the end, the middle, or what. So hell, if he wants to act a fool, then maybe he'll give me a starting point. Okay, so let me go to her channel. Because he's a jerk. That's that guy that was talking about Dylan and saying, "Oh, he was part of some gay brigade that patrolled this and did that, and they are out in the desert all night." That's that guy, right? And now he's like going on everybody's lives talking crazy about just everything he can talk crazy about. Yeah, I couldn't even listen to that whole phone call that when she posted about the phone calls that he had had with her with the mother or whatever, and just the way he was coming and like if you're a private investigator, what makes you think that that's how you talk to? Okay, wait a minute, that's not what I was trying to do. Go back. What makes you think that it's okay that that's the way that you talk to parents like of a missing person that whose case you're investigating? That dude's I almost said the R word. I would have got canceled, but that dude is he don't scare nobody. Not me anyway. Okay, Dylan Rounds. No, that's not what I want. I want Isabella Kalua. Ariel Sellers. Oh, wait a minute. Where is a video playing from? Okay, hold on. What is saying?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hi, Sherry. Hi,
What
Ann.
is
Hi,
making
Dina.
noise?
Channel Hopper. Hello, Scott H. Hi, hi, hi. So, tonight, guys, we are going to be talking about Lena Cahill, the things Harmony
Really
Montgomery,
not sure what's going
and
on.
of the craziness in these other cases. Just to whenever she first went missing. I've also been covering Harmony
Wow.
Montgomery since she went missing, and so
I'm not sure what's making noise
if you're
because
here to
I'm
listen
not
about
even
Dylan
on the channel. I
Rounds, it's not happening tonight.
oh my
However,
goodness.
there are several people that are going to be talking about him this evening, including Leave It to Beaver plans to go live to kind of go over.
That's one way to make it stop. So let me see if I can find it and pull it up and then put it back in the stream. Wow. He's really and he's going into on the mom like that? That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Y'all see I'm having some technical issues. See, the thing about me is when it comes to drama on YouTube, I kind of stay away from it. I even if it's just drama people, because like when I was listening to that phone call that Sleuth posted of him talking to the mom, it gave me a headache literally, and I turned it off. I could not listen to that. So I know I wouldn't be able to listen to whatever live he was in doing all that. It would have just okay. I need playlists. Playlists. There we go. Something is weird with my computer today, so here we go. Maybe I can actually see it now. And I do not see Ariel. I see Alyssa, Dylan, Lily. It's probably in this playlist. Yeah, I didn't listen to that whole call. Yeah, for sure. Drama has no place in missing community. Exactly. I think he just does it because he wishes to get famous. Exactly. That kind of drama has absolutely no place in missing persons community, which is why after I started after I became a creator on YouTube, I really stopped following a lot of the channels that I was following as a viewer because I was like, are you kidding me? Because as a creator and knowing how I want to present things and how I feel about how missing persons and victims cases should be handled, hearing this stuff and different things, I was just like, are you serious? Like, no. And so I unfollowed so many people. Ariel Sellers. Because it's crazy, man. I mean, if you're gonna get on here and you're trying to advocate for missing kids and you're trying to be a voice for victims, you can't get into all that kind of junk. Okay, I'm getting to it, y'all. Every time I click on her channel, though, it goes to like some video that I can't see, but it's still playing in my ear. That's the one. Okay, that's the one where she goes over the indictment. Yep, that's about right. About 4 months ago. Oh, not that one. Okay, go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Yeah, that's the one that I'm trying to find because that indictment documentation still not recovered. Court date approaching. Well, if I can't find it, then I guess we won't go over it today. But yeah, that was just like horrible because I don't know, man. And it's like CPS knew this was going on. They knew that she was being abused. They saw it with their own eyes and they still let it go. But there's a rumor out there that the Kaluas were friends with someone of authority in the CPS. So that could be part of why uh, that could be part of why they were getting away with stuff so freely and why they even had the kids. Because now another thing is they weren't even supposed to have those kids because Isaac has felonies from about 10 years ago that included terroristic threats, uh, threats with a weapon. He had other weapons charges, and aggravated assault or something like that. But him having even one felony should have precluded them from being able to foster and adopt. So that right there says that there's some corruption going on for the simple fact that they should have never been able to foster or adopt any child, let alone have a child in their custody long enough to slowly starve them to death. Okay. Well, I can't find it. So what I'm looking for now is another video, like maybe a news video where they're going over the indictment. Because I know my video got deleted. I was not trying to delete it, but I did. And that's the press conference from this one should be it. This should be the indictment. Or not. My whole computer just shut off. Oh my God, I'm going to be so glad when I can get rid of this thing. So I am going to end this live for now. And I'm going to dig up that indictment and go over it later. And I will see you guys later, hopefully. I love y'all. Thanks for hanging in there with me in the face of my technical difficulties. But hopefully, I will be able to replace this computer soon and things will run a lot smoother. I do have a playlist for Ariel Sellers on my channel, and Sleuth Mom also has one on her channel. We both did a lot of coverage on her when the case first came out. We were like two of the only people who were covering her case at all. So see y'all later, and y'all can check that out if you just need to catch up on the case. Bye. Love y'all.